So welcome and thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We just want to thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us this afternoon. We're very excited to share with you for the next about an hour that we'll have with you. First thing we will do is go ahead and get started just by taking a look at our agenda for today. During our time together, we are going to start out just by introducing ourselves, taking a quick review of our early literacy legislation in North Carolina, discussing the supports that are available to our charter and lab schools. Then we're going to think about our why are we doing the things that we're doing? And then we want to share with you some opportunities by looking at a menu of support, some resources that we have available, and then we'll close up by giving you an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and just begin with our introductions. So many of you know me. I have had the pleasure of being able to work with you over the past several years. My name is Tanya Parrish, and I am the business and charter school coordinator within the Office of Early Learning. It has been an honor to be able to get to know you and work with you and provide support for you, all things Read to Achieve and early literacy support. And I look forward to us continuing to work together throughout this upcoming school year as we wind down from this school year and begin a new school year in the 23-24. So North Carolina schools continue to grow across the state, which is very exciting. And as that number of charter schools grow, the Office of Early Learning wants to ensure that all of our charter schools and all of our lab schools are being supported in the area of early literacy and Read to Achieve. And with that growing number, I am super excited as charter schools and lab schools grow across North Carolina. I am excited to be able to say that we have developed an Office of Early Learning charter school team. So joining me to help support as we continue to support you across the state, I have two wonderful consultants that I want to introduce you to. We have Angela Preston and Leslie Simmons, and they will begin in their new role as a charter school consultant beginning in June. But I wanted to go ahead and introduce those to you, let you meet them, and I'm going to allow them to tell you just a little bit about themselves. So I'm going to turn it over at this time to Angela.
Hi, everyone. My name is Angela Preston, and I am very excited to join the charter world and learn all about charters and spend some time thinking about literacy and how to best support students. I know my background is in special education, and I was an EC resource teacher, and I've worked with implementation, and as a implementation specialist for a while. I was a literacy coach, and now I am here excited to do this work. I'm coming from the Southwest region, and we'll be joining Tanya in charters in just a few weeks.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Angela. Leslie.
And my name's Leslie Simmons, and I am located in the Southeast region of the state. And I will be transitioning to the charter team as Angela at the beginning of June, and very excited. I've never taught in a charter school, but I have taught first through sixth grade. So I'm looking forward to sharing any information that I have that may help support you in your journey. And I'm looking forward to learning from you all about charters and us working together to support our children in everything to what Tanya said, everything literacy, RtA. So thank you. Looking forward to meeting you in person, hopefully one day.
Absolutely. So we are your Office of Early Learning Charter School team. And so just wanted you to be able to meet our new team members. I'm very excited to be working with them. We will be in touch with you and continue to support you throughout as we transition them into this role. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and jump in to our content for today's webinar. I know that everyone on this webinar is very familiar with our Read to Achieve legislation that became law in July of 2012. But I do just wanted to put up here on the screen for you just so you could refresh your memory if it's been a while about that legislation that did become law in 2012, which is all about ensuring that all of our students are reading at grade level or above grade level by the end of third grade. And what we know about Read to Achieve and this legislation since 2012, and as we have been supporting this goal and this effort, we know that we can't wait until third grade. We have to begin early. And so in order to do that, we want to make sure that we are supporting you at your school, within your classrooms, and just letting you know that we are there for you. So you may or may not be aware that in 2021, there was a new bill that was passed, and it is called Senate Bill 387. And if we'll click to the next slide, this Senate bill was an act to modify the implementation of the Read to Achieve program. And it was, again, there were some modifications made to it, again, to assure that we are supporting all of those students before third grade. I do want to let you know, we will share this presentation with you, and anytime you see an error, that's letting you know that that is a live link. So if you were to click on that, then it would take you to Senate Bill 387, and you'll see that throughout this presentation. I wanted to just let you take a look for just a minute at North Carolina. This map is giving you an idea. It represents the 206 charter schools that we currently have in North Carolina. So just to give you an idea of where charters are represented across the state, you could take a look at this map and you'll see the darker the green, which means that there are more charters within that district. So for example, you'll see that Wake and Mecklenburg County, those colors are dark green, and that just means that they have anywhere between 15 to 30 charter schools within that district. And then you'll see that there's others represented all across the state. And as I said earlier, our charter schools and our lab schools are growing across the state. And so we're going to keep updating our map as we continue to add more charter schools. So now, as we think about all of our charter schools located across the state, I wanted to make sure that all of our charters and lab schools truly know what supports are available. Okay, so we're going to take a look at these. I want you to know that while charter schools are given flexibility, and they continue to have that flexibility, so the next few things that I go over, your charter may choose to participate or not participate. That is your choice. If you do choose to participate in these things, please know that we are here to support you. So the one thing that I wanted to just start out, because it's coming up soon, is our Read to Achieve reading camps. And I have been communicating with charters, and I know that many of you have completed the survey and indicated whether or not you are going to participate in that opportunity for our students. But if you have chosen, I wanted to make sure that you have the 2023 Reading Camp Guidebook, which is linked here. That guidebook will give you the guidance that you will need to conduct that reading camp for your charter school. I am very excited because Currently, we do have 150 charter schools that have chosen to participate in Reading Camp. And that is phenomenal. So yes, yay, I'm so excited. Please do not hesitate to reach out if you have questions. I know one question that I have been receiving a lot over the last maybe week or two is regarding the hiring of staff for your Read to Achieve reading camps. So I will just throw this out there. If you are having reading camp and you're looking at hiring teachers, charter schools may use the teachers that they have hired to teach during the school year. So we recognize that not all of your schools may have all certified teachers, but yet they have been hired and they teach a classroom throughout the school year, and you can use those if you do not have certified teachers to teach that camp. So don't let that hinder you from conducting the camp if you have staff that can still support those students with reading. If there's any other questions about Read to Achieve Reading Camp, you can put those in the chat and we will answer those, or you can email me and we will make sure that we support you with Read to Achieve Reading Camp. I will say I'll be sending out an email blast tomorrow with some supports. And one of the things that I would love to do and take my 2 new team members with me is, if you would like for us to come and visit your reading camp this summer, send me an email and let me know the dates and times of your reading camp. And we will do our best to try to get out and visit as many reading camps as we can this summer. So if that is something you're interested in, send me an email and we will try to make arrangements to do that. The next item that I want to share with you and let you know that we have supports available is with using the state-approved K-3 literacy assessment. Charter schools continue to have choice, and they can choose to use DIBELS 8, which is the state-approved assessment, or you can choose an assessment of your choice. But all of our students in North Carolina do need to be assessed with a K-3 literacy assessment. So if you choose to use DIBELS 8, the state funds the DIBELS 8 assessment for K-3 teachers, and that includes the assessment materials and any training that we do throughout the year with Amplify. So all of those things would be paid for if you choose to use DIBELS 8. We have right now about 139 charter schools that have chosen to use DIBELS 8 at this time. And so we're very excited about that. Throughout the year, we will provide training. First of all, we're going to be offering training for all teachers, whether it's a refresher course or if it's because of brand new staff. I meet tomorrow with Amplify to schedule dates, but we are considering the middle of June. The middle of July. It will be after Labor Day, and have some that will go through the middle of August. So we will be providing training sessions as a refresher and for all new staff if you're using DIBELS 8. And then throughout the school year, in the 23-24 school year, we will be offering sessions all throughout the year at BOY, MOY, and EOY. Again, these are free of charge and just to help support you, looking at your data and helping you in any way that we can to ensure that you have the support you need with using DIBELS 8. If you have not signed up to use DIBELS 8 and you are interested in using it, please let me know, because we are in the process right now of ordering the materials and everything that will be needed for the upcoming year. The next support that I want to talk to you about is letters. Letters, we know, is again optional for our charter schools. However, if you choose to participate in the letters training, we are here to support you. If you are not familiar with letters, letters stands for Language Essentials for Teachers of Reading and Spelling. This is a 2-year training It is not a program. It is not a curriculum. It is a training that really, truly prepares us as educators on how to ensure that we are effectively teaching all of our students to read. And so I was just briefly wanted to let you know that there are 4 different components to the training. There's a reading component, an online component, which includes your modules, a bridge to practice activity that is done after each unit. And we are providing bridge to practice support sessions free of charge. And then we also have those within the platform assessments after each unit. So currently, we have 366 charter school teachers that are participating in letters, and we have 81 charter school administrators that are participating in letters. And so we are here to support them throughout this journey, provide the support that is needed for them to be successful, and then follow up and continual support in the application and how to apply our learning in the classroom. So if you're interested in learning a little more about letters, please feel free to send me an email and I will answer any questions that you may have so that we can support you with that if that is something you're interested in. If you are currently taking letters, kudos to you for choosing to do that, and do not hesitate to reach out for support. We are here to support you every step of the way. One more support that I would like to share that we are available to support you with is our North Carolina Early Learning Inventory. You may know this as NCELI, okay? This is a ongoing observational-based formative assessment that utilizes the developmental progressions across 5 domains of development and learning to support the whole child through classroom experiences that they are developmentally appropriate. So this is supporting our pre-K to kindergarten transition. Again, this is optional for our charter schools, but if you are interested in learning more about the NCELI, please feel free to reach out to me. If a charter school chooses to use this, again, it will be free of charge, and we will support you with that use. So I wanted to let you know that it is an opportunity that is available if you choose to use it. This again is a support from pre-K. It supports transition from pre-K to kindergarten. And we can let you know more about that program if you're interested in that assessment. Okay, so I know I've already shared a lot of information with you. These are the supports that from the Office of Early Learning, the charter school team. We're here to support you with all of the offerings that we have throughout from the state. If you choose to use them, we are here to support you, and we will, help you in any way we can. But now we want to kind of change and look at and think about our focus of thinking about our why, because our support goes beyond just the support of the state mandates for our LEAs. Our support goes to all of our charters, whether or not you choose to participate in any of those options. We want you to know that we're here to support you all things early literacy, because all kids matter. And we want to make sure that we are supporting all of our educators, lab schools and charter schools. And in return, we know that you are doing all you can to support our students. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Angela, and we're going to spend the next few minutes thinking about our why. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you, Tanya. We do have a question in the chat. Tanya, would you like to do it now or save it till the end? It's how can school apply to have teachers trained in letters?
Absolutely. That's a great question. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my email in the chat. And if you will send me an email, I will answer that question for you, because there are a few steps, but we can definitely help you with that. Thank you.
Okay, So we all may have different reasons for supporting literacy instruction, and I'd love to spend a little time talking about our why. But first, take a moment to think about a student you know or a child in your life, and what you would really like for that child in terms of just life outcomes, not just even in reading. Um, where do you see that child in 5 years? And, what do you hope for that child as they become an adult? And as we go through this next section, I would really like for you to just keep that child in your mind as we're talking about our why. We're going to start by discussing how well students are reading across the US. In 2022, the NAEP results showed that 33% of students, which if we think about this in a classroom, that's about 7 students out of a class of 21, are reading at or above proficient levels. And that also means that 13 out of 21 students, or 67% are reading at or below basic levels. And this is a national issue. This is not just something that's unique to North Carolina or our own schools, but we all can play a part in the solution here. So let's think about how people, oh my goodness, too many clicks. Let's think about how kids approach learning to read, because we do know that how we read is not the same for everybody. So we're going to respond using the chat box, and I would love for you all to join me in this. And we already know the answer to the first question, unless you weren't paying attention. So then we'll see there. No, I'm kidding. We are going to talk through what percentage of students find learning to be really easy or relatively easy or difficult or a formidable challenge. But to do this, you're going to use the chat box, and you're going to type one of those percentages on the side as your answer and wait. And when I say go, everyone will hit enter at the same time. So we'll do a little chat waterfall. Okay, the first one we will do together because we already saw the answer. The percentage of students who find learning to read easy is, drumroll, 5%. 5% of students find learning to read easy. Okay, so here's where I would like you to join me. Learning to read is relatively easy. What percentage of students do you think find it relatively easy? 30 to 40, 20 to 30, or 5%? So go ahead and put it in the chat box and then wait. And then I'll give you about 5 seconds and I'll say go. Oh, look at all those. I see a lot of 20 to 30, some 5s. Excellent. Let's see what it is. Haha, 20 to 30%. Very good, everyone. 20 to 30% find learning to read relatively easy. How about learning to read is difficult? What percent of students find learning to read difficult? Go ahead and put it in the chat and wait just a minute. All right, 30 to 40, 20 to 30. Oh, that might have been from the other one. Okay, let's see. 30 to 40 is correct. 30 to 40% of our students find learning to read difficult. We're going to come back to that in just a moment. But what percentage of students find learning to read a formidable challenge? Put it in the chat box. All right, I see some 5%. I see a lot of 5%. I see a 20 to 30, a lot of 5%. Are you ready? It is actually 20 to 30% find learning to read a formidable challenge, meaning they really do require that code-based, explicit, systematic, sequential, cumulative, and diagnostic instruction with high repetitions. This would be students who may be receiving, if you're using an MTSS framework, that tier 3 intervention support, more intensive support to be able to learn to read. So if we think about this and we take even the low end of these two numbers here on learning to read is difficult at 30 and learning to read is a formidable challenge, that's still 50% of our students finding it difficult to be able to read. And then if we think back and reflect on maybe our own experiences with learning to read as children, and what many teachers may have found learning to read is many of our teachers, how they found learning to read might not be in that difficult area, but many adults that our teachers in education found it a little easier. So we might not have the same experiences as our students. And we want to make sure that we're considering, what do our students really need in order to be able to learn to read? Yes, I have a tier 3 is supposed to be around 5% of our student population, and that is a big difference from the 20 to 30%. That's a great point to make there. So you want to think about, what kind of supports are we providing so that more of our students are able to read? And if you look at what we have here, that structured literacy approach is really going to help all of the students learning to read, so that you can then have fewer students needing that tier 3 support. We're really thinking about that core. What does that core look like? But take heart, we are resilient. We do actually know what it takes to help students learn to read. Literacy has been studied by educational researchers, psychologists, special education researchers, cognitive scientists, and other researchers for decades. We do actually know what it takes for students to be able to read. So this leads me to one of my favorite quotes. Dr. Hasbrook, she created this statement that eloquently pulls all of the research together. So I'd like you to just take a minute to read this to yourself. And in the chat, go ahead and add just a couple things that jump out to you as you're reading this. And think about, is this something that your teachers and yourself really believe? And are we able to put this together for our kids? Because as you start to read, we can really reach that 90 to 95% of students at or approaching grade level. So just take a moment to read this and put your thoughts in the chat box. All right, so something that jumps out to me when I'm reading this, and feel free to put things that jump out to you in the chat box, is the fact that 90 to 95% of all students can achieve literacy, and that includes students with disabilities. And as a special education teacher, that makes my heart so excited to know that that's what research is really able to show us, that we can hit that 90 to 95%. It is also that we're talking about literacy skills at or approaching grade level. How we do this is through intensive, comprehensive, and high quality instruction, really thinking about what are we providing for our students, and that it's provided by well-informed and well-supported teachers. We're not just saying, hey, this is something that's going to work, but how are we supporting our teachers, and how are we providing them the knowledge they need to be able to use science of reading practices in their classrooms? Anything else that jumped out to you all? Let's see, believing 90 to 95%, that 95%, I know that's a great number. Could you imagine how wonderful would that be when we see our students, most of our students, reading where they should be in literacy? It's very exciting. Aha, yes, you are onto something, Lizette. That's my next step here. So what does this mean? Well, we are really talking about the science of reading. So what does the science of reading actually mean, and where can we learn more about all of this? And as Lizette pointed out, that is where Letters spends a lot of their time, is all about that. So if we think about the science of reading, you might be wondering what this actually means for North Carolina. And legislators agreed with the research supporting science of reading, so they added this as the way that teachers will provide instruction in literacy to meet the needs of students. So this definition specifically comes from SB 387. The science of reading means evidence-based reading instruction practices that address the acquisition of language, phonological and phonemic awareness, phonics and spelling, fluency, vocabulary, oral language, and comprehension that can be differentiated to meet the needs of individual students. So that is how we've translated science of reading in North Carolina. But we still want to get a little clearer around, well, what is this? So if we look at what is the science of reading, really, it's a body of research from multiple disciplines across all education areas. So it includes thousands of studies that were done through hundreds of millions of dollars in funding, so that we could really figure out how does the brain learn to read? And then what actually happens when students aren't learning to read? And what is the most effective way to teach students to read? So that's really what the science of reading has been able to show us. And now that we have this information, we want to then translate it to practice. But we do want to point out what the science of reading is not. It is not a program. It is not a curriculum that you can go by. It is not a one-size-fits-all approach to how we should teach something. It's not a specific component of instruction. So if you've heard that science of reading is phonics, that is not true. Phonics is part of the body of research, but that's not what science of reading actually is. It's also not a political agenda, an ideology, nor is it a philosophy. The science of reading has strong evidence base that uses research to determine best practices to teach literacy to students. So now we're going to take a quick peek at some of these overarching models that come from the science of reading. So we'll start by watching this video, which really talks about the simple view of reading.
But let's go a little deeper and talk about what it takes to learn to read. Naturally, it's a math equation. The simple view of reading is a formula developed by Goff and Tunmer in 1986. The ultimate goal of learning to read is reading comprehension. We want students to understand what they read. In this formula, reading comprehension is a product of decoding skills and language comprehension skills. Decoding skills help students to read the words, and language comprehension skills help students understand the words. Weaknesses in either decoding or language comprehension affect a student's ability to comprehend what was read. The simple view of reading is purposefully formulated as a multiplication problem because the factors of decoding and language comprehension do not add to each other, but multiply across each other. Thinking about this mathematically, if one of the factors is 0, the outcome, or reading comprehension, is 0. But more realistically, if a student has some decoding skills and a few more language comprehension skills, the reading comprehension outcome is greatly impacted and not as strong as when both factors are fully developed.
Okay, so when we think about the simple view of reading, we're really looking at those two areas, the decoding and language comprehension. So now we're going to go a little bit deeper into Scarborough's reading rope. As Lizette pointed out,
let's go a little deeper.
Sorry. There we go. Scarborough's reading rope, which is what letters really digs into as we're thinking through these. So you already can notice here that word recognition is that one side of the simple view, and language comprehension is the other side of the simple view of reading. And so in this model, Hollis Scarborough put this together as a visual for us to be able to see how these strands really relate to each other. So this visual emphasizes the many strands required for skilled reading. So if we look at this word recognition, you'll notice the strands are broken into sounds, decoding, and automatically recognizing words. But language comprehension pulls apart into multiple facets such as background knowledge, vocabulary, as well as language structures and verbal reasoning and literacy knowledge and print knowledge. As students become increasingly automatic with their word recognition skills and increasingly strategic with the language comprehension skills, that's where we see that skilled reading really develop. But if we think about a rope and how if a strand of the rope is broken, it really compromises the strength of that rope. The same is true. If any of these strands are broken, then our ability to comprehend and understand what we've read becomes a little bit harder to do because we don't have those fully developed strands. Okay, and I'm going to leave you with this as I wrap up this section today. We are all aware of the pendulum shifts that occur in education, but we caution against seeing this as just another thing in education. With the advancements that are in technology, with the amount of research findings that support these shifts in literacy, this is not the next new thing in reading. This is the thing. This is how we impact generations of students and develop lifelong readers. very excited for you all to be here with us today and to keep talking more about science of reading and also just general literacy and the supports that we can provide at OEL. And I'm going to turn it over to Leslie.
Thank you, Angela. As you all have already heard from Tanya, that there are numerous resources and support documents that are available for you to consider and to think about the many topics that we've discussed today. But what we also recognize is that what the needs of each school and each person are unique to them. And so prior to going into some of the other resources that the Office of Early Learning has prepared, we are in the process of developing a menu of support. And that is so we know how we can help you best. And so there's the Bitly survey link and the QR that we would ask that you would take time to fill that out for us, because it offers us some information that is important to what we develop so that we're addressing your needs and wants. Also, it lets us know who in the field we're speaking to, whether it's more teachers, administrators, because again, resources would be different based on where if you were implementing the content of letters and the knowledge, or if you were thinking about it at a school level prior to adopting. So again, we really need to hear from you, and that'll be my large ask of the day, is to please provide us that information, because we want to make sure that we're tailoring our professional development to support you and your school's needs. In addition to that, we're going to offer virtual office hours starting in August. So dependent on information that we gather from you, that will also help inform what we have, what we're offering during office hours. It may be where it's just an open office hour, or it may be that we heard from numerous people regarding a given topic, and then we can focus that time to drill down on that topic. So this is just one of the many ways that we're trying to support you in real time, and that time is to be determined, and information from you will help us. Is this a great time of day, 3:30 to 4:30, or is a morning time better? So that's why we very much need to hear from you. And in addition to that, we have a calendar of events. And this will just help you stay abreast of what is coming up, what we have planned. Also in the calendar events, if you have celebrations, that you would like us to come to, we welcome that opportunity, as Tanya mentioned, because if you're having a celebration, somebody else can learn from that celebration. And so we really want to create this collaborative environment, and utilizing this calendar to see what's going on will help you stay informed of the work and what is being offered to support charters. And not that this is all inclusive. Again, we're going to uniquely tailor things to your school. So it might not be that you see it on this calendar, but this is a broad calendar of events. And again, we will be filling it out more deeply as we determine dates as we move into the next school year. So as mentioned, there are numerous resources, and I'm just going to touch on a couple here. But on the Office of Early Learning webpage, we have links to everything from legislation to letters to NCELI to science of reading. It's very comprehensive, I think, is the best way I can put it. So it is linked within the presentation in the notes. So, please do take a time to look at it, and you will see just how much is available to you to support your work. And in addition to that, what we've created is a Read to Achieve implementation guide. And as you take a look at the table of contents, it's, again, very comprehensive. And it's everything that can help you navigate RtA, Read to Achieve. The guide addresses legislative components, science of reading overview, early literature and professional development, aligning curriculum and instruction, anything from reading camps to funding. It is just so broad that I know that there's something in that table of contents that you will be able to use, and you won't want it to be but a arm's reach away. So hope you have an opportunity to take a look at that and use this valuable resource. And it has been updated for the 22-23 school year. This resource, the NC Digital Children's Reading Initiative, is wonderful. Within this website, you will find opportunities, resources, activities that will support pre-K to 5 oral language development. So that would include your phonological awareness, phonics, vocabulary, fluency, comprehension, and oral language. And all in there, divided by grade, pre-K, first, kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, fifth. You can just click on that, and then you can identify, well, which area what do I want support in? Phonological, phonics. And when you link into it, there'll be resources there, games, activities, videos, books that students, families, teachers can utilize to support development in those areas. The other really wonderful thing about this is it is 100% free, does not require a sign up, a login. So it's there and available to you. And it's, again, very comprehensive. And I think your teachers would love it, whether you're, working with letters right now, but if you're developing those areas, literacy areas, you will want to tap in, and they will want to tap into this resource. So please do share it far and wide. The NCDPI OEL website, as I addressed earlier, has a lot of resources. You can see in this slide how it is broken down, the Office of Early Learning. So if you want early literacy, science of reading, kindergarten, preschool. So it's very friendly, very accessible. And again, as we hear from you, if there's something that you're not seeing, that helps guide us into what we develop. So please take a look at what resources are available to you and how we could continue to improve and develop to address your needs. So we also have the NC Amplify website. As Tanya mentioned earlier, this is a free opportunity for your schools to utilize the K-3 assessment for literacy. It is, I think I've used the word comprehensive 10 times, so I apologize. I'll need to find a synonym, but there is a wealth of information on this website. There are tutorials in what is Amplify, how do you use Amplify, how can it help me in data-driven instruction. It has classes that you can take. If you engage with DIBELS 8 Amplify, it will generate reports based on students' assessments, so it can help inform instruction. And so I would just suggest taking a look at this so that you could see the value that participating in M-Class DIBELS 8 could provide you, your school, and your teachers. And again, it's data decision making, and this is the K-3 literacy assessment that the state has adopted. So I would again just suggest taking a peek. And if you're interested, again, let Tanya know, and she will make sure that you are connected. And we also have those webinars or office hours it's actually webinars where Amplify is going to work with us, BOI, MOI, EOI. So great opportunity to get on board with that. Out of an outcome of asks, you have your own charter memo that Tanya puts out every Friday, and it's OEL Friday Update Memo for charter specific. So in this document, there are links to resources, there are reminders of dates, there are opportunities, And it is ongoing. And so every Friday one comes out, but they are all linked within the website so that you can go back and look at past memos. So this is new and unique to charters from the Office of Early Learning. And again, it's just, as Tanya mentioned, is we're just trying to identify ways that we can continue to build and support charters in their literacy journey, everything RtA. So we've quickly gone through a lot of information for a 1-hour webinar. And we wanted to save some time for questions, et cetera. But at this point in time, what are you most looking forward to on your literacy journey? And then as you think about that, would love for you to drop it in the chat box or or I don't know if you can come off of mute, maybe just put it in the chat box, but if you can come off of mute, then that's great. But we would just like to know what you're looking forward to regarding early literacy, and again, informing our work, our continued work to identify ways to support. So if you just want to take a minute to think about that and drop it in the chat, we would love to see your thinking.
If it's okay, I'm just going to come off mute. I just want to say that I am looking forward to getting better at what I do using the information that I'm learning through letters. It's such an exciting training that is so beautifully combines, things that have been discovered in other fields as well, using brain science and just combining all the elements that help children learn to read. And it's making me excited about what I do, but also challenging me to rethink what I've been doing up to now and how I can make it better. So I think that's just what I'm looking forward to.
That's wonderful. I think Tanya is going to want to take you on the road with her versus me.
I need to no. I say to people, I know just enough to be dangerous at this point. So let me finish my course first. And then
but you know what you just shared, that's the beauty, is because when you see the value and you're having a conversation with a teacher, you know, you're that wildfire, right? You're going to just light that candle for other people, and that they can start dipping into it, knowing that, yes, it's a journey, but boy, it's changed my practices. And now I'm seeing, most importantly, that change in my students and in their success as young readers. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to come off mute?
We've had some responses also in the chat. So Jennifer says having staff be in letters trained so that they are supportive and have explicit, intensive, comprehensive instruction to provide to their students. I agree, Jennifer, that's amazing. Alicia says she's looking forward to the knowledge and support to create the best learning environment for all of her students. Yes, Alicia. I mean, over here, my heart's just like, yes, I want to give you all great big hearts. Yamika says continuing to move through the letters program and get more ideas and ways to support students at the K-3 level. Melissa says, I'm looking forward to seeing how a stronger early literacy foundation affects our older students in learning. And Melissa, and you will see it. As I said at the very beginning, we can't wait till 3rd grade. We have to start early, but that strong foundation, we will be able to see that transfer as our students move beyond 3rd grade.
And we do talk about that this is a pre-K, 5, kindergarten 5, and there is we talk about letters, but there is a EC letters and early childhood letters that is specific to pre-K, and you're so right. When we look at that continuum, what we're doing in the early elementary, and the stronger our students are in these skills as they progress in their grades, that's going to transfer into their writing, their comprehension, and it is that broader picture. And I'm really glad you bring that back into focus, because sometimes we just think it's the very earliest of learners, and it's not. Thank you.
Lacey says that she is so looking forward to connecting and supporting and developing language comprehension and decoding to inform structured literacy. And she's excited to learn how to truly teach oral language with letters training. And so, Lacey, when you look at that menu of supports and you complete that survey, please know that we have some even additional training and supports that we can provide as it pertains to oral language. So this is exciting. Wonderful.
Thank you all for sharing. That's tremendous. So as we wind down, we have Tracy Whedon, who is kind of the queen authority of reading. And this is a quote by her, and you can see she's the president CEO of the Nahas Education Center. And she says, by unlocking literacy, we unlock readiness for the workforce and success for a lifetime for children and adults. Everyone wins when literacy leads the way. And this isn't just about, yes, foundational reading, but it's the impact that it has on our children's lives, their whole trajectory as they move into adulthood. And so we have this great opportunity right now with the knowledge and the research that we know to improve. And so thankful for those of you that have started and are sharing the wins and the growth that you're seeing in your students. And those of you considering, please reach out to us to have further conversation. And as Tanya mentioned, please do take time to fill out that survey. It's very short. And it's just going to be invaluable to us as we move forward in supporting you in the field. And I will pass it back to Tanya.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Angela. And thank you all my charter school friends and lab school friends. I'm just so excited. So at this time, it is 4:25. Our time is almost up, but we definitely want to give you an opportunity to ask questions. So you can either come off mute and ask those, or if you want to put them in the chat, you can do that as well. Are there any questions for us? And if not, that's wonderful. But what we will do, we will share this recording with everyone and a list of all of these links so that you have access to everything that has been shared today. We really, really do ask you to please take just a moment of time to complete the survey link for our menu of supports, because as we have said, we have things that we have, that we can support you in right now. We're ready to go, but we also want to know, what is it that you need? Do you see something that you think, hey, I don't see on this menu of supports that you have it, but we really could use some support in whatever it is. If it's dealing with early literacy, then we want to help you and support you. So please take time to fill out that survey. All of that information is just going to be used for us to plan and to offer opportunities for each of you. As I said earlier, reading camp's coming up. If you're participating in reading camp and you would like for us to come out and visit, send me an email with your dates and times. We will do our best to try to get out and visit as many of those as we can. If you need support with anything that we have mentioned today, just know we're here to support you. If you are not receiving our weekly memo that goes out every Friday, let me know, because we want to make sure that you get that. Or if you have colleagues that you feel need to get that, please share my email with them so we can ensure that everyone is getting the information. So one last chance. Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
We just finished doing our kindergarten registration, and we noticed a trend where some kids were super shy and nervous and unprepared. So I was wondering if this NC Early Learning Inventory, NC Eli, would that be appropriate to use like in sort of we were going to invite some of the kindergartners to school during the summer. Would that be appropriate to use at that time? Or is it more of just an assessment, or does that have activities we could do with them too?
Leslie, do you want to?
Well, okay, I can, yeah, sure, I can speak to that. It is on a platform, the Teaching Strategies platform. And I'm not quite, I need to, Tanya, about access and cost. Is that free for charters?
Yes, it is for them
Okay.
to use the assessment, the NC ELI assessment. That is free.
Okay.
We can get them signed up and get them access to that.
Okay, so yeah, so you could gain access to the platform and use the assessment process. And what it is, it's formative. So it's looking at all domains of learning. So you would be those approaches to learning, those social, emotional, those areas that you've already kind of identified, as maybe areas for development. And what it is, it's a progression of learning in all of those areas. So if you see a student early in their learning, their development, it's going to support you in providing you with the skills that were a prerequisite that we need to develop to support that. And there are activities that can be taken from the platform to support that work. So please feel free to reach out to me, and I can send you some more information, or we can discuss it. It's great, and it's all about the whole child, and that's really important because that will impact their learning in other areas.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, it is 4:30 and we want to honor your time. Again, thank you so much for coming. On this last slide, you'll just see our wonderful state of North Carolina with all of our wonderful charters and lab schools. And then your charter school team is here to support you from the Office of Early Learning. Have a wonderful afternoon, and thank you so much for all you do.